Qigong, actually, it's a science. It's not a toy. It's not a game. You're a man, and you already feel, you're a little bit too soft. You're a little bit, you strive to the feminine area. You can take your masculinity back with these kind of exercises. I'm not against females, but some things are created from man to man, and some things are created for man and woman. And some things are created for only women that men shouldn't be practiced.
Hello everyone, I'm here with Grandmaster Jiang Yu Shan. First of all, it's really nice to see you again after a while. And this time we are going to talk about Qigong and how it relates to our internal biochemistry, essentially our hormones, neurotransmitters and stuff like that, because most people, I don't think they realize how big of an impact this kind of hormones can actually make on our actions and on how we see the world. Like literally, even despite what kind of values you have, what kind of morals you have, like these kind of hormones can really completely change your view on things, and on that it changes your actions and the life decisions that you make. And on recent years, even like these studies have come out that show very clearly that you can actually really affect by these different postures, for example, your hormonal levels, testosterone, your cortisol. And what is, I think, was very striking for me when we started to learn with Jiang Yu Shan is that actually in Qigong this stuff has been taken to an incredibly high level, and they have already known it for thousands of years, like centuries, millennia, or for who knows for how long, like just by probably being so deep in tune with their bodies. And I think this is a very interesting subject to talk about, and who's better to discuss it than Grandmaster Jiang Yu Shan.
Yeah, good day, Aaron. Nice to see you.
Good day.
And my greetings to all the listeners of our meeting today. You're right, actually. Through millennia in our human society, people already have these kind of knowledges, what we are rediscovering, actually. We are rediscovering, we are not creating, because these things already exist for many years, thousands, 10,000 of years. You can see these kind of breathing practices are well known from the old Sumerian, Egyptians, I would say in the Celtic regions, they have also these druids, they was using these kind of methods. Of course, they use different kind of, we call that runen, or the runes, different kind of prescriptions and also different kind of positions, but actually they have only one goal in mind, to develop the human ability for not only living longer, keeping healthier, and also provide the practitioner with, I would say, the vitality of life. And what we are doing now is, because we are actually in that kind of sleeping stage where we, because of our stressy lifestyle, we are hunting for the mammon, for the money, for the better life, and also for our existence, that we are actually very occupied with different things that they actually don't benefit our health condition. What we want to do is, with our intentions, we want to have a better approach in our life quality. Of course, what I just said in the old Egyptian, Sumerian, And in much elder cultures, you can see these kind of techniques and also these kind of exercises. Into Hinduism, they have different kind of, I will say, approaches, but all for all, we have all these kind of similarities. So you can find different kind of 5-element theories. You can find different kind of, I would say, nature polarities, what we have, for example, the positive and the negative, what we can see in that yin-yang symbol here, or here we can see that kind of 5-element that you can find in every old culture, or even in every old religion, I would say like that. The thing is, what I already mentioned about, is we are rediscovering. We're not creating something. We are rediscovering. And
you mean the science?
Yes,
or
the science of life, actually. I will not talk only the science of life, also we are rediscovering the science that people can't measure anymore, because we have different science. We have the educational science, where people, they are measuring things and come to a conclusion. And then we have a different science, which people call actually the border science. Border science could be a science to develop the abilities of the human potential. So there are even some kind of people, they have different kind of abilities that people don't understand how that comes and how we build them. But what we have in our Qigong systems and Neigong systems is that we can build up first a very, I would say, a better vitality, a quality of our vitality and also the quality of our life. The thing is that if you study much more further, you not can raise your testosterone level or even decrease your testosterone level. It depends how you want to approach it. You also can have a body, mind, and also a spiritual harmony when you practice these kind of things. We have covered already different kind of aspects. For example, we try already to approach systematically what you will need when you learn the Qigong patterns. So that's why we start how to develop the respiratory system by learning breathing techniques in different ways. That is what we have already in our health and fighting Qigong, and the first one, that we already approach that systematically. I had already the idea in mind that we can't start from the end, because the end result will be finding the abilities of the human potential and develop them.
I think most people, if you look at, they only have like bits and pieces of it. Like you can find people are changing, for example, this level, but they only like they're sitting or they're standing, or some other people maybe they do their breathing. Or maybe some other people is, well, diet. I eat a lot of meat or something, get some vitamins, increase the zinc. But what I noticed is that in Qigong, it goes even further than that. They have the diet aspect, they have the exercise, the posterize effect, incredibly deep the breathing aspect. And on top of that, there's the sexual life, essentially like being like, or how do you say, like being able to control your sexuality to an extent. So it goes so wide and it's so like deeply for that specific purpose of finding that sort of harmony and balance of these different, how do you say, like systems or happenings in your body.
You can only find the balance if you approach that in the correct way. In the correct way, it is how I see it. It is even people say there is no correct way and there is no wrong way. In that kind of field, when we talk about breathing and also Qigong, which means actually Qi means breathing and energy, and Gong means work. So that shows already what we need to emphasize first. We need to emphasize first on our breathing habit. Breathing alone can help us to reach a different kind of mental state, to calm ourselves, to develop different kind of mindset, and even can, when you practice that regularly on a regularly basis, then it will also help you to increase your muscle function. So also your powers will be much more better to use. So you use your muscle and your body effectively. The ancient, they have done that with different kind of aspects. Of course, you have the diet part, that in some regions where it is much more colder, they need to have a different diet than in some regions where people live there, where it is much more hotter. So you can see in some regions, for example, they need much more the protein-rich meals. For example, they also eat the meat. Yeah? Because for example, in the northern Scandinavia or in Alaska, there is very less vegetables what you can find. So they need to see what they can have to reach different kind of proteins. And in warmer countries, for example, where they have the fauna and flora, they can have much more, I would say, the protein intake from the vegetables, and they eat much less meat. So there is actually no rule of the thumb that when you practice Qigong that you totally need to be a vegetarian, a vegan. No, it depends in which region you live and also from which DNA you derive. So we need to understand that it is not one thing for all the humanity. But it should always be better if you can already decrease your I would say, cadaver intake to a minimum. That will be already very good. But that is only about the diet. Then we have different kind of things where we need to consider is how we are working, what kind of exercise we are doing. Are we working on the field outside in the county, or are we sitting in front of the computer in this kind of halogen lights where you are actually only depend on the air conditioner to have a little bit some comfortable life? Yeah, that need also be considered. We need to understand that we need to adjust our life in a harmonious way, and we need to find the healthy middle way where we can approach that Qigong exercises and Neigong exercises which suits for the individual.
I think like this shows the
please.
like the beginning, or what is the most fundamental actually, even in this, like even regards to the testosterone, and what you have described here is actually health. Like, you eat good, you breathe good. It's nothing specific, even post or exercise. It's just that these are really the fundamentals of having like a healthy body, and it's much easier to have a balance, these hormones and whatever neurotransmitters and everything inside your body actually when everything is just working like fundamentally on the bottom level in a good manner.
Look,
I guess the base for everything.
Our generation, actually, we have most of the population, or I would say the population which are striving for a better lifestyle. They are living in front of the computer and they're working in the office. When you're working in the office, of course, the upper part of your body is very occupied, and the lower part of your body will totally shrink, I would say like that. So even the love life and the ability to be vital, to have a nice family, born babies, and so on, will be already, I would say, it will decrease. So when you don't want that, you can practice different kind of methods where you can develop, or you can take back actually your youth back. You can juvenile yourself, you can become younger, and also you can approach even your beloved ones in a different way. And that actually is when you practice that different kind of Qigong patterns. For example, if you learn the hard Qigong style, for example, what we just did, we put the Lohan gong inside, the 24 Qi inside. These are the hard and soft approaches of Bagua Zhang. And when you practice these kind of methods, you will automatically feel that your body will change. Your body will change, that you become not only stronger in mind, also and in your physical ability. And physical ability will show how you even perform at home in your bedroom, for example.
Yeah, I think it's the Lohan Gong is enormous because even if you're like young and everything is pretty much working in your body, it's still a huge boost. Like, and it's in a matter of like what is last maybe if you do it once, it's like 4 minutes. Usually do it twice, 8 minutes, and these effects come like you can get these effects in a couple of minutes in just with like some minor posture changes. You get some effects. But in the Lohan Gong, it's the different contractions, it's the multiple different postures that are extremely strong and I feel like extremely evoking. And so it's not just like this kind of like, well, maybe, you know, something happens that you can't see, but you can feel it so clearly with this kind of forms. I know this myself every single time I do the Lohan Gong.
You see these kind of ancient Shaolin techniques, they are actually, these exercises, they are actually very masculine. You can develop
Masculine,
even if you're a man and you already feel you're a little bit too soft, you're a little bit you strive to the feminine area. You can take your masculinity back with these kind of exercises. And I already have some responses in my private messages and even emails where people they are thanking me for these kind of exercises because they feel the difference after 1 or 2 month practices of these methods. And even for people, they feel they become so weak because they train different kind of styles. You know, for example, I have a lot of people that train soft Qigong for a long period. They train the Reiki for a long period, and they also train the Tai Chi for a long period. And they feel by themselves that they start to weaken a little bit. They change already their behavior, the art, how they move, how they walk, how they talk with others. And some of them, they don't like it. They discover that they become much more, I will say, feminine, which they don't like. And after they practice the Lohan Gong form, the 18 Lohan, they thank me that they take something back what actually was sleeping in their body, like the masculinity, the manhood, this kind of a little bit macho behavior that will really tickle out of the man inside in you. And of course, if there is a person who is already, I would say, very masculine, he will have a tremendous boost. Like he will become like a raging bull. So when you practice these kind of things, you need to be also very careful that you don't misuse these kind of powers what you can develop. Of course, we always have both sides. You can train in a nature and healthy way, or you can overtrain, and also you can overstimulate your I would say your stamina, your testosterone level, which can lead to different kind of conflicts. Because I have some people also, they're training very hard, and they can find themselves that they're very quick in confrontations because they become very
too impulsive.
Very impulsive, very aggressive. And then I only can say yes, yes, sir, because this is actually created for the warrior monks in ancient China. And when I say monks, it means in this kind of facility in the Shaolin Temple where I would say 99.8% are males. And maybe you can find 1 or 2 female in the Shaolin Temple. Because the females have their own temples and their own location, and they will never, in ancient time, they will never mix that up where man and female are together. That people need to understand all these.
But the women were able to. You said the women were able to practice the martial skills, but they were just real.
Females have a different kind of approach. That I need to emphasize again, that the female, when she wants to practice a hard Qigong style or even a Qigong style which is created from man to man, then they need to change their body structure, and also they will have some changes in their libido. we call this Nu An Gong. They need to go first through that Nu An Gong stage, where through different kinds of practices, where the female actually need to massage herself, and also different kind of breathing methods, where actually the feminine side of the female will distinguished. So they become like young boys. And that is a procedure which can lead to, I would say, they will lose their menstruation, they will lose also the ability to born a baby. And that needs to be very, very careful to think about, is it the price what you want to pay as a female? Then you can practice the hard Qigong. But for females, actually, there are different kind of Qigong methods there where they can practice it in a very healthy way. In a healthy way is when they practice the soft Qigong arts, where what we also provide, for example, in the 64 breathing techniques, we have that soft
Yes.
Qigong. And even when you practice that kind of art, what we call also the grand circle, this is actually the correct method what a female can practice. And in the other part, we have the 12 Buddhist Qigong movement, the Su Jing Gong. That is also a soft Qigong form where the ladies, I would say, young or old, they can learn these kind of things because it's a soft approach of the Qigong, which cannot harm the libido and the psyche of the female. So actually, people always asking, one day I was talking about if a female practice different kind of Qigong, it will have some psychological effect. Yes, it have. And by the age of, we can say, emancipation and women equality, people need to understand, especially the females, that we are not, or I'm not against females, but some things are created from man to man, and some things are created for man and woman, and some things are created for only women, that men shouldn't be practiced. The other thing is, it is only a recommendation for me when I talk about these things that that can happen something like that. It can happen, but it is you need to see how long and how far the individual practice in these kind of arts. So we also need to know that Qigong, actually, it's a science. It's not a toy. It's not a game when you practice these kind of things. Because a toy and a game, it is not what the ancient delivered to us, because, first of all, it was created from men, for humans, and everything had a purpose in mind. So we will develop different kind of abilities.